Welcome everyone to our June Village Board meeting. Could you please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance with us? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'll start at the top of our, with our fire, or with reports this evening. I don't see anybody from the Altamont Fire Department, but we did get their written report. Does anybody have any questions on that? Nope. No? They've been really busy the last several days, and the week prior, I think, or week and a half prior, with all the flooding, and we give them a big shout out for all the work that they've been doing. Just a lot of flooding, as we all know. If you live here, we've been a little underwater for a few days. So we thank them very much. All right, I'm going to move on. Police Department. Do you have a report, Chief?
Just a reminder, the 21st we got the Altamont 5K, just so people are aware there'll be runners out on the road. And the 24th is the Strawberry Social.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Strawberry.
Yeah, thank you.
And other than that, we got item number 9, but I'll wait till you get there. Forget it.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. All right, great, thank you. Public Works, they are not here this evening. I talked to the superintendent today. They worked through the entire weekend, the gentlemen, because of the issues that we're having both on state roads and our own private roads. So I thought they needed to just go home and regroup a little bit, because tomorrow they have another big day working on some of the same parts of the village where things just came off the hill, rocks, sticks, dirt, and it just rolled down with the water and has really caused issues. That's Maple Avenue, things that have never flooded in the past, I think, Schilling Park, things like that, they're really dealing with. So they're not here tonight. I don't think there's any news except for they are all over the place, and if you need them, call Chris's extension at village office, and if you have a question or a concern, because he's real good at, getting back to folks. But I think that's it. Everything else, brush, that's all being picked up still, probably not right on time this week at the beginning. They usually do it twice a week, but I'd imagine this week it's once. So hang in there. They will be back. We'll be back to normal soon. I'm gonna skip over and go to public comment. I'll start right there. If there's anybody who wants to share something with us, with the board. I don't see a lot of action, so I'm gonna say that's good. Okay, thank you so much. And I'm gonna go to item number 1 on the agenda, which is consider approval of treasurer's abstracts number 24 and 25 and number 1 and transfer of funds as submitted. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Michelle, and second?
I'll second it.
John? Roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor.
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine?
In favor. I'm going to jump down to item number 5. Consider authorizing Mayor Denine to sign architectural engineering consultant agreement with FCM Engineering PLLC for the Maple Avenue and Bozenkill Road stormwater, sidewalk, and safety improvements. For those that are watching at home, this was one of the 2 groups that we are working with after the bidding process for the sidewalk and the storm water control on Maple Avenue for next year. And this group is it's gonna do like the administration part, the paperwork part, the resubmittal for reimbursements and things like that. So we didn't have this agreement last time when we did the Barton and the Judas one, so that's what this is. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
And will you be second,
I'll be
Sandra?
second.
John is first, Sandra is
I gotta
second.
speak, not raise fingers.
Yes, the hand, that won't work. And roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor.
Trustee Ganance?
Oh, in favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine?
In favor. I'm going to move on to item 6. This says, consider authorizing Mayor Denine to sign drainage and access easements with William and Virginia Hanna, 131 Main Street, tax map 37.19-2-7. John Furlong, 133, 135 Main Street, tax map 3719-2-6. And Linda Rabin at 137 Main Street, tax map 3719-5. Just a reminder, it's been a while since we've talked about Sand Street Drainage Project. I think it was probably last spring, if I recall. We had one of the residents come in concerned about we've always had some drainage issues on that road where it runs onto Main Street, causes a problem. It caused a lot of ice in the winters. And we had said to her at the time, hey, it's on our fall list to be done in the fall. And we did pursue it. We had to have engineering come in, help work with us on where's the best place to tie in. We had to get the permission from DOT at the time, and they did finally give us permission, but that took time. However, that route didn't seem like, it didn't work out when they did a test hole to see too much utilities right in the same spot we wanted to go. We decided it was, the DPW decided it was too dangerous. Same with the engineer at the time. So the other way is to go with easements to go through the backyards. We're trying to get the water to our storm system that is on Thatcher. So we're working with easements with these folks to do that, so. Okay, there's one more we have coming, but we have the 3 out of the 4 right now. Okay, can I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Michelle is first, and can I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Sandra? And roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor?
Trustee Ganance?
In favor?
Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine.
In favor. Item 7, Patty knows this is my favorite, I usually make Nick read these sometimes. It's a lot of stuff here. Consider approval to hire the following individuals for Bozenkill Park Summer Recreation Program. Addison Dover, Guilderland Counselor at $16.80 per hour. Kyle Efaw, Guilderland Camp Counselor Lifeguard at $16.80 per hour. Avery McPherson, Guilderland Camp Counselor Lifeguard at $17.30 per hour. Tyler Pentak, Altamont Camp Counselor Lifeguard at $18.05 per hour. Samantha Fanning, Eastburn Lifeguard at $16.80 per hour. Ari Din, Schenectady Lifeguard at $17.30 per hour. Logan Dover, Guilderland Lifeguard at $17.30 per hour. Olivia Rollins, Guilderland Lifeguard at $17.30 per hour. And Natalie Way, Guilderland Lifeguard at $18.80 per hour, per recommendation of Samantha Staubach, Aquatics Director. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Nick got that, who said?
Sandra did.
Sandra, can you be second? All right, Sandra is second. And roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor?
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine.
In favor. And it's nice to see out of all
That's a
those
lot.
names, it's not just a lot, but they're returning. Like, we've had the
Yeah.
same repetitive people, a new one here or there, but for the most part, these are the people who've been with us for a few years now. So that's great. Let's go to item 8. Consider approval to hire Vicky Bastian, Duanesburg, water aerobics instructor for Bozenkill Park at a flat rate of $450 from June 17th through August 7th, per recommendation of Samantha Staubach, Aquatics Director. Have a motion?
I'll motion.
Sandra is first and second.
I'll second.
Nick? And roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor?
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine.
In favor. Item 9, consider approval to hire Danielle Peck, Schenectady, to part-time police officer not to exceed 20 hours per week at an hourly wage of $22 per hour, per recommendation of Todd Pusey, Chief. Position is for a probationary of a period for up to 1 year. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Michelle and John, were you saying something?
Second it.
Second is, did I miss for you first? I don't know, I think I was facing this way.
Quiet.
All right, so John is second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor?
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine.
In favor. See, they're fighting over you. Welcome.
I'm okay with that.
Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the
Thank you.
team. So that'll be great.
Thank you.
Item 10 is consider approval of the Altamont Free Library to hold summer concert series on Tuesdays from July 1st through August 5th at Orsini Park. Can I have a motion for that?
So moved.
John, you got right in there. And second. Is
That was
Nick.
quiet.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor?
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine.
In favor. Okay, let me go to my next one here. Yep, minutes. Consider approval of board minutes for May 6, 2025. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Sandra? And second? Nobody?
I'll second it.
All right, Sean. Oh, my goodness. And roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor?
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
Abstain.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine.
In favor. I'm going to jump back to the front, the top of the agenda. and I know we wrote down presentation, but it's not necessarily a presentation. Nicholas Despard is here from Barton and LaJudas tonight. Rich Strout is away, so he had told us he would not be available tonight. I guess for those at home, we've done this a lot, but I'm gonna give a little summary of what's been going on with our wells and how we got to where we were. I'll make it short though, or if you wanna fill in, feel free to.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. So back some time ago, we got a reading that we had manganese in our wells on Brandel Road. And because of that, we had to take some steps with the health department and letters go out to folks. And so we had to deal with that problem, so we've been using Gun Club Road almost exclusively. We use them both back and forth a little, but not for too long. But Gun Club Roads have been our only real well during this time. We did a study with the University of Rhode Island, they have a chemical, potassium ferrate, that was, thought that it would help with the manganese levels in municipalities having those issues. The study went really well, better than expected. Yes, it works. That might be an option for us to do. It was very exciting until they said they will not commercially be making that chemical anytime soon. They thought it would be coming, and it hasn't. So we can't wait right now on that. And so Barton and LaJudas did a study for us, an engineering study on what's our best angle to go. Where should we go with pathways next? So, and then we had to explore the prices on each. We still looked at the potassium ferrate, hoping it would be, by the time we got done with this, it would be available. They looked at putting in a traditional filter system down at the Brandel Road, which would be a much bigger building, et cetera. And then the third option was getting an emergency transmission line with the town of Guilderland so that if we need water in an emergency, we're at least interconnected with them. Because we are one of, if not the only one in Albany County not connected to anybody else, which is not a good thing. So we really have always had two problems. We've been wanting that transmission line for a long time, and we need to fix Brandel Road. It's not either or. We will still fix Brandel Road. It is our backup for right now, and it will continue to be so. And this is more of a safety measure. This year, I can imagine, with all this rain, we may not need the protection. But last year with the drought, we were losing so much water out of that well a week, like a foot a week, and it was getting dangerously low. So our concerns kind of amped up a little bit. Last meeting, Rich Strout showed us the costs of each pathway. The traditional method at Brandel Road was I'm not gonna be exact, I don't have it in front of me, 5.5 million or something like that, just over 5 million. The transmission line was going to be 4.7, and it was 1.1 for the potassium ferrate. However, so when we were choosing which direction to go for, what we're looking for now is money. So this is the grant season, and we had to prepare everything to go. We have to pick a direction to apply for grants for that reason. So the board at the last meeting picked going with the emergency transmission line. We've met with Guilderland over this. They actually have a resolution, draft resolution that they're gonna use in one of their meetings that supports this project. We need that for our grant application as well. So that's what we're doing tonight, is basically, we have to review the seeker for that project, for this project, and have that ready to go also, because these applications, when it comes time to put in for the grants, you need all of this stuff ready, including the engineering report, plus all these documents. How am I doing?
Good.
So, anything you want to add, Nicholas?
Sure.
You can come right up.
Yeah,
And
thank
Michelle,
you.
is that on? I don't know. You might have to turn it on.
I don't
the
think
button
it's
on
on,
the
I'm
front.
sorry.
You smooth it to the side. There's a,
See it right there, the little
see that little
sliding
button?
thing?
Yeah, you go. Perfect.
So as Mayor Denine said, tonight's resolution is just to approve the environmental review, the seeker forms. That'll position us to apply for any and all grants that the project needs to move forward.
Okay.
As far as the cost, I think you got that all correct. And we've gone through the coordinated review process, so
thank you.
DEC, at the previous board meeting, I believe the village passed a resolution establishing their intent to be the lead agency. After that, the last 30 days has been coordinating with all of the different agencies interested or involved with the project. None of them have brought any issues forward. We have found no issues in our environmental review. So this is just the village affirming that there will be no significant adverse impacts environmentally.
Yes, thank you, I forgot that part of it. That's why we met this date, we had to put it off for 30 days,
That's
so,
right.
yes. Does anybody have any questions for Nicholas? Or-
No. this is-
No? So I guess what we're gonna do is go through seeker, and if you have any questions,
Okay.
we'll shout out to you.
Stay up here.
If you can sit, it does, yeah, sit, you never know.
Could be a while.
Yeah.
Well, so, I'm actually, you know, we had the one last time. Let's look at part two, which is the questions, just as far as review go. So part two in seeker talks about, the impact something will have, the project will have. So it's either, no or small impact or moderate to large impact may occur. So I'm kind of just gonna look at the pages and see if anybody sees anything that it's been pre-filled, we've pre-filled it out.
Yeah.
It's on 1 of 10. Part two, you gotta see a part
That's all.
two?
1 of 10. I got it.
Yep, part two.
Got it.
Everybody got it?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm getting
Hold on, there's- I'm seeing like 2 of 13.
1 of
No,
10.
Part 1.
It should be 1 of 10. That's the next, that's part one. But we had that last time too.
Oh, 1 of
That's-
10, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. So,
So this is the impacts.
Yep, got it now.
Got it? Okay. So, I can see on the first page, just, you know, there's one moderate to large impact, which was it may involve the construction where the water table is less than the 3 feet. Everything else was small or, no impact. So most of it's actually only one is a small impact and the rest are none.
no impact.
Does anybody have issues with that?
No.
So this first one is impact on land, the construction itself and the impact it would have on land. Okay, I'm gonna turn to the second page, and if I go too fast, let me know.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah,
5% slower,
5% slower.
just a smidge.
I will smidge it down. All right, let me go, oh, yeah.
So the proposed action that involves construction on slopes of 15% or greater, is that, I don't know, I kind of assumed that 146 going down to the hardware stores more than 15% now. How's that?
Well, they're saying there's no impact. It doesn't say that there's not a greater slope, right?
That's what they're saying, but it's saying it's.
Construction, oh, I guess because we're not on a slope?
On
or
slopes of
under?
15% or greater.
All right, whatever.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because it's talking about the proposed site itself, and the site is not the slope down to there.
It's not?
Nicholas, can you shed any light on that for us?
Yeah, I would say that our environmental team has looked at the proposed route, and they've found that there are no slopes greater than that percent
Okay.
along the transmission main.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's basically all slopes, no 15% or less, no 15% or no 16%
Yes,
or greater.
that's there.
Okay. All right.
All right,
All right.
good.
Impact on geological. On top is like the proposed action may result in the modification or destruction or inhibit access to any unique or unusual landforms on the site. So the answer to that is no. Okay, that makes sense to me right away, okay?
Okay.
The next one, impacts on surface water. The proposed action may affect one or more wetlands or surface water bodies. And the answer to that is yes.
Okay.
If you know that area, when you get down towards there is some water type areas. But we have negative, or no impact or small impact on these. And you can look at, you know, if there's anything that jumps out at you. Let me know.
Oh, good.
You good? Are you guys good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna move over to impact on groundwater on page 3. The proposed action may result in a new or additional use of groundwater or may have the potential to introduce contaminants. Well, the answer to that is no.
No.
This is a pipe that's running down there. So that next part doesn't have to be done. Impact on flooding at the bottom. It says the proposed action may result in development on lands subject to flooding, because those lands, if you know them, again, it opens up down there. Yes, but the proposed action, if you look at the designated floodway, the proposed small impacts within the floodplain, the proposed action may result in a required modification of existing drainage, small impact, I think, and the rest are no impact.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay. So looking on the next page, 4 of 10, impacts on air. And it may include a state-regulated air emission source, which this does not, so that's no. Impact on plants and animals. The proposed action may result in loss of flora or fauna. They say yes, I guess in the area that you're digging, right? That's basically what you're saying, but it's along the roadside, so there are either no impacts or
Or
small.
small, yeah.
Small.
Which makes sense to me with what this is, straight, it's kind of a straight line. All right. I'm gonna look at, let's see, those were all, they're on the top of the next page is continuation. There's no national no landmarks. Involves use of herbicides, pesticides, it's none of that, so that should be okay. You okay with that, if I move on to 8?
Okay.
Impact on agricultural resources, it says yes, such as, like, the moderate to large impact may occur on the proposed action may impact soil classified within soil groups 1 through 4 of the New York State Land Classification System. Do you know, can you give us any reference, Nicholas, about that?
Sure, so this, I'll just read here from some of the backup.
That'd be great.
Do you
Yeah.
mind going to the mic just
Oh,
for
yeah,
folks
sorry,
at
people
home?
at home won't be able to hear you. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. If you need it taller, we can always do that.
So there's one parcel along the transmission main alignment that is part of Albany County Agricultural District Number 3. This parcel does not appear to be actively farmed based on a review of aerial imagery. However, it contains mapped soil units, about 2 acres, that are classified as prime farmland or farmland of statewide importance. These designations are comparable to groups 1 through 4 of the New York State Land Classification System. Transmission main installation will generally be completed within the right-of-way of State Route 146, and adverse impacts to these soil groups are not anticipated. The new pump station is not proposed to be sited on agricultural land. The transmission main will connect the Village of Altamont's existing water system to the town of Gilderland's water system on State Route 146. The agricultural district property along the transmission main route is vacant. No new service connections to this property are proposed. Coordination with the New York State Department of Agricultural Management will be completed for the project during the design phase, including submission of a notice of intent if it is required. The project will not convert land within an agricultural district to a non-agricultural use. Ground disturbances associated with the transmission main installation will be temporary and will not restrict agricultural activities within or access to mapped productive soil areas or other agricultural properties. None of the land adjoining the proposed transmission main or pump station site appears to be actively farmed based on recent aerial imagery.
Okay, that works.
That works.
I think, again, because of where it's going and the fact that it's temporary, the disturbance, I understand how it goes to meet, moderate impact, but it's not overall, I think.
Yeah, because of the location,
Yeah.
that has to be checked, but
Yeah, absolutely.
no permanent
Okay.
impacts.
Sounds good.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
On item 9, its impact on aesthetic resources. Does the land use of this action are obviously different from or are in sharp contrast to the current land use patterns between proposed project and a scenic or aesthetic resource? It says yes, but it's all small, we have small or no impact on this. Proposed action may be visible, which it's not going to be invisible. Could result in obstruction or elimination of screening, which it will not do that. Small impact is what we just talked about, I think, where you are, it may be visible from publicly accessible vantage points. I would imagine that's what during construction, okay, so that's why that's there. And,
So it's all temporary.
yeah, those are all, so I don't know if anything else jumps out at you, but I think it all makes sense there. Diminish, I don't want to read to everybody, but that's, just summarizing that. All right, can I go to 10?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, impact on historic and archaeological resources, it says yes. Is it adjacent to a historic or archaeological resource? Small impacts because it's wholly or partially contiguous to any buildings, archaeological site, listed on the National State Register, historic places has been determined by the commissioner. Is that, Nicholas, is that because it runs by things that are designated National Historic Places? Is that what that just means? That's
Yeah, so
basically
the-
it, so,
We have to consult with the state.
Absolutely.
And if they flag anything
Okay.
along the route, that.
that's what I thought, okay.
Okay.
The proposed action may occur wholly or partially within a continuous to archaeological site not included on the SHPO inventory. So not, that's a no,
Not.
okay?
Okay.
All right. Going to 7, or 7 out of 10. We have to go down to impact on open space and recreation. The proposed action may result in a loss of recreational opportunities or a reduction, which is no. The very bottom of that page is impact on critical environmental areas. This action may be located within or adjacent to a critical environmental area, which it is not. Okay, so far so good? Okay, I'm just double checking. That smidge, I'm gonna try to go smidge slower. Nick wanted a smidge. All right, impact on transportation. This action may result in a change to existing transportation systems. Yes. So these are no impact for most of them. You know, it may, traffic may increase because of this, no. But down, if you look, it says the proposed action may alter the present pattern of movement of people or goods. Small impact, I imagine this is during construction. that
These are
we're
temporary construction.
Temporary, this is all during the construction
Okay.
part. Okay.
The state work permit will be gotten from DOT. We'll work along that
Okay.
corridor.
All right, so state DOT gets involved for that part. Impact on energy, the action may cause an increase in the use of any form of energy, yes. And you have no impacts. The small one would be the new pump station will contribute additional energy withdrawals, which I think we're used to that, okay?
Yeah.
Impact on noise, odor, and light, it may increase noise, odors, and outdoor lighting, yes. But the small impact is it may produce sound above noise levels established by local regulation during the time of construction, which would make sense for, I think, anything. But they have those, they have the hours of construction, so I think we're okay with that.
And that's why it talks about the light shining onto
Yeah.
adjoining properties,
Yeah,
same
so it
thing.
would be okay with that.
I was reading down,
Yep,
there's like explanations further down I found. It could also be,
Oh,
there's
what?
gonna be security lighting on the pump house.
okay, yeah,
yeah.
right,
But it's right at the corner where there's plenty of light.
Yeah.
exactly. So, okay, so I'm on page 9 of 10?
Yep.
Are you there? Okay.
We're there.
Let's see, small impact, oh yeah, that's one Nick was just talking about, some lighting. Impact on human health. This action may have an impact on human health from exposure to new or existing sources, no, on that one. So we don't have to do the remainder of that page. The next page is 10 of 10, consistency with community plans. So it is not consistent with the adopted land use plans. The answer to that would be no. Consistency with community character. It's inconsistent with the community character. The answer to that is no as well. Okay, is everybody good with that so far?
Yeah.
Okay, we got through it. All right, so, looking at part 3, our village council, Allison, I'm gonna go to you for a second, if you
Yes.
don't mind.
Yes.
So we just reviewed,
Just in time.
obviously, part 2, just to go over all the questions and, you know, just
Yes.
talk about a couple items. And, what, in item 3, should I read the description for the item 3, or,
So, I think we can explain what item 3 is.
that'd be great.
So, for the seeker,
Oh, can you pass her the mic a little bit? Like, sorry, just we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. So for the seeker long form, what you just reviewed is the part 2, and that identifies where you have reviewed the questions, and based on the information in part 1 of the EAF, you've determined if there is an impact, yes or no, and if yes, can we quantify that impact as small or moderate to large? So in your review of the part 2, there was no potential impacts that were identified as moderate to large.
Correct.
And in the part 3, it provides a reasoned elaboration as to the factual basis for those responses. So if you go through the part 3, it goes by each resource impact area that you just covered under part 2 of the EAF, and it explains why the answers are either no impact or small impact. So the part 3 narrative that we have attached here prepared with the assistance of the town's designated engineer.
Sorry, before you go on, you said that there was nothing that was moderate to large?
There's one
But there were a
thing.
couple, there were two that were.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
There were two items there.
There were, Nicholas did come up and explain them.
Yeah.
Two
We
items.
talked about them,
Okay.
yeah.
One of them
Yeah.
was the agricultural district, which I read the part 3 explanation for.
Yep.
And then the other item involved the depth of the water table along the proposed route. And I think the big thing to mention from part 3 for that is that for stream crossings, wetland areas, and any other areas where water table is expected to be an issue, we're going to explore trenchless methods for pipeline installation,
Okay.
horizontal directional drilling, or similar techniques to just mitigate that issue during the construction phase.
Okay.
So for those impacts, the reasoned elaboration explains the mitigation that's been incorporated in the project design to ensure that it doesn't result in a significant adverse environmental impact. So under seeker, even if you have a moderate to large impact identified, if there's mitigation incorporated in the project design to address those impacts, it would still provide a basis for a finding of no significant impact or a negative declaration. So the part 3 that has been prepared with the assistance of the town's designated engineer is appended to the part 3 of the seeker EAF form. This would be your reasoned elaboration if the board determines to go ahead and proceed with confirming and adopting that negative declaration. And we have provided a draft resolution to the board to that effect, if it wants to proceed with consideration, which I think is on the next agenda item.
Right. So is everybody comfortable with the
The negative
the
declaration.
neg deck for this,
Yep.
for this particular project?
Yep.
And okay to move on to the next item on the
Yes,
agenda?
So on that form, is it checking off box B? Although it could have a significant impact, it'll be avoided or mitigated?
Oh, we just moved my thing.
No, it would be,
Here's my
Or
part
C?
3.
No?
you would mark box A, the project will result in no significant adverse
Yep.
impacts on the environment, and therefore an environmental impact statement need not be prepared.
Okay.
Yep, and then, okay, everybody comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so since we reviewed that, I'm gonna look at item 3 on our agenda. Everybody got it?
Do you have to go through 2 before you get to 3? Do we have to say
No,
yea or
I'm on
nay?
3 on the agenda, which does what we just talked
But we
about.
didn't do,
We can do number 2.
We
reviewed
reviewed
it.
it.
yeah, but we didn't say, hey, yeah, I agree.
Oh, is it not?
No, we-
Do we
something
not have to
vote
do
on?
that?
No, we're good. That was just a review.
Just review.
No, we
I
were,
don't want to do anything wrong.
no, we just physically reviewed it.
Now, we don't
Yeah.
have to motion anything.
And Nick said I was going, too fast at some time, so we did it. And then I went slow again.
Okay, sorry.
All right, so now I'm looking at 3 that says, consider approving the resolution and issuing a negative declaration under seeker on the proposed Altamont Water Supply Improvement Project. The village board authorizes the filing of the negative declaration with reasoned elaboration, which is attached here too and made a part hereof, according to seeker 6 NYCRR Part 617. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
John is first. And Michelle is second.
Sorry.
And roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor?
Trustee Ganance?
In favor.
Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor?
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine?
In favor. And thank you for all the information. I appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
Item 4 is part of this process as well. Consider bond resolution dated June 9th, 2025 of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Altamont authorizing the issuance and sale of serial bonds and bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance and sale of said serial bonds in the amount not to exceed $4.7 million. The proceeds from the sale of the obligations authorized in the said resolution shall be used for the object or purpose of construction, reconstruction, and installation of improvements to the village water system, including but not limited to installation of a water main and associated gate valve and hydrant assemblies from the town of Guilderland to the village, installation of 1 master meter pit at the connection point to the town's water main, installation of 1 new booster pump station, and acquisition of equipment, machinery, or apparatus, including preliminary costs thereof and costs incidental thereto. The estimated cost of said object or purpose is $4.7 million, and the period of probable usefulness thereof is 40 years. Bond resolution is subject to a permissive referendum pursuant to Section 36 of the local finance law of the state of New York. And just, I mean, to summarize all those words that were repetitive and big, we're not going out to bond this right now at $4.7 million. In order to apply for grants, going down the road with the money we're going after, we have to have this prepared to go along with the packages that go. Because this is the cost, we're hoping it will be less than this, but we have to make contingencies and all that. And so this is the cost we have now, and we have to have a bond council resolution for that and be set up for that. So that's what that is about. Could I have a motion for that? Sandra? And second?
I'll second.
Nick is going to second. And roll call, please.
Trustee Serafino?
In favor?
Trustee Ganance?
In favor?
Trustee Farrakhan?
In favor.
Trustee Scally?
In favor.
Mayor Denine.
In favor. I'm going to look at, before we go to item number 12, we're jumping back to the end. I'm just, a reminder, I know we talked about, Chief talked about the Strawberry Social on the 24th. I will remind folks at home, if they're watching, that on the Monday, the 23rd, is the kickoff for our food truck series. The first one will be in Bozenkill Park that night. We have a band coming, and we have food trucks, and we hope for good weather. We never know these days. And then the remainder of them will be in Orsini Park following them for 5 weeks. So I hope everybody comes out for that as well. And then the second night, you get your strawberries up in Orsini Park. So I think it's a great week, actually, last week of school there. Can anybody have anything else that I need to mention or do? Okay. Consider motion to adjourn. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
John, and second?
A second.
Sandra? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming this evening. I should mention that our meeting in July is on the 15th. We do a midsummer meeting. We'll have it up on the board, but just for those of you at home, that's the date. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.